Hey guys, it's Editor Oreo here. I just wanted to come to you guys right at the top of this episode. I just wanted to make sure I gave you guys a little bit of a content warning because as we always talk about D&D, this podcast is also supposed to be a little bit of a safe space. This episode is going to have mention of child death, and then also at the very beginning I do talk about a horror movie. I don't go into any explicit detail, but just so you guys are aware, those things do happen. So if those are things that you're not comfortable with or you don't want to have to listen to, please feel free to skip this episode. I hope you guys join us on the next one. It's a lot of fun and no horror, no child death. So feel free to check out any of our other episodes, also free of those things. And don't forget we love you guys. Stay safe. Okay, so you remember how I told you I had a movie, but I wouldn't recommend it because it wasn't good?
Uh-huh.
I also highly wouldn't recommend it to you because it's also a horror movie, so...
Thank you. So why are we here?
Yeah, so Netflix decided to do I'm going to call it a soft reboot of the Texas Chainsaw Massacre horror franchise. Our wonderful
I've never seen a one, but go on.
Okay, so basically it's where, do you know Leatherface, like Michael Myers,
yes.
Jason, yeah, his franchise is Texas Chainsaw Massacre. So going back to our lovely number one fan family, our wonderful friend Davina also is very big into horror movies.
Oh.
And she casually mentioned that she saw it. It was absolutely terrible and I should watch it so we could discuss it. So of course I watched it.
I love a co-hate watch. Yes.
When I say the IQ of every person in this movie is single digits. This movie just made me so angry.
It wasn't even a fun hate watch.
It was so dumb. So dumb. Like, it was aggravating to watch every single... You know when you're like, okay, it makes sense to make this dumb choice, but it's a dumb choice as an outsider looking in.
Yeah.
I didn't feel that once.
Mm-hmm.
It was just, no, I don't care where you are. This is a obviously dumb choice that you're making.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know why you're making it. I don't think anybody normally in this situation would also understand why you're making this choice, but okay. I guess we're making
it. The first 5 were fine, but now we are 20 minutes in. At this point,
you deserve to die. You don't deserve to survive this movie if you keep acting this way. This is the part that really just, I fucking lost my shit. He is decidedly murdered at this moment. They are in the car. They set it on autopilot because autopilot apparently now works like miracle driving where you just don't have to do anything. It just drives you all the way home, I guess. And this is what got me about that. It says specifically autopilot. This isn't like a fancy car. This is like once again, let's drop back to Honda Civic. This is like a Honda Civic with autopilot and it is turning itself to follow a route home. And I'm like, y'all don't even know how autopilot works?
I forget how cars work.
Y'all just were like, yeah, cars driving themselves.
These are city slickers, Oreo. You don't understand.
I got to the point where I was just like, you know what? Okay, that's how autopilot works. But what really got me is in broad daylight with all the cops out and going through these dead bodies and stuff like that, he just manages to walk up on this car while they're having a banter moment, smashes in the window, drags the older sister out. The younger sister climbs through the sunroof, or she's standing in the sunroof. You know how you see people in limos doing that when they're having a good time? It's that, but sad now. And she's in the sunroof, and she is screaming as he watches him slice her fucking sister's head off and hold it up in the air. And she's just like, no! What? This is the part when I was like, the car just drives itself. The car is driving and she's reaching and screaming.
Through the
sunroof. It's just sliced the fuck out of her sister's head. And I thought because of how ridiculous it all looked, it was going to be one of those fucking scenes where she wakes up in the hospital and the was a nightmare.
But
it's
no.
not. That's just how the movie is.
Oh, no.
I waited until I saw credits to make sure, because I was like, there's no way. There's no way this is the end of the movie.
Mm-hmm.
It's because you don't even, the movie doesn't end on the shot of him with the head. It ends on the shot of the car driving her away from the town.
She's reaching out.
Oh, God. I was like, ooh, no.
So
No. It was one of those moments where it's like, because of the combo of the music and the scene and like the shock music noise and stuff, it was like, they think they did something and I'm crying. I'm crying. God, it was so good. Oh my God. The movie became worth it in this one instance.
I just kind of want to see this last scene.
One, I'm now satisfied because this dumped older sister is dead. Mm-hmm. But two, God, this fucking driving away not driving away sadly, being driven by your car away sadly, screaming for your sister whose head is in this man's hand. And it's just like, God, it was good.
I appreciate how every few months we just turn into a bad movie review podcast. Just a little segment.
I always feel like one of us finds something.
Some trash.
Something that just has to be talked about. And for me this month, it was the one reboot. It was Texas Chainsaw Millennial Edition? I don't know what to call this.
Oh man. It's just every few years it's like you can just tell, let's throw everything at a wall.
And whatever sticks is what's going in this movie. It was like, the beginning was like, this is going to be a weird way to do social commentary, but I'm curious enough to finish it. But I already know it's not going to be good. And then it just
wasn't good.
I think that's the most upsetting part. It was like, none of it mattered.
My God.
Because the gun was arguably the most helpful weapon in their arsenal. Mm-hmm. So I don't know what the argument about the gun was. And the black guy died real quick.
It's the opposite of Chekhov's gun.
So I don't know what like the racist commentary was for. It was the exact opposite of that. It was like everything that we're introducing in the first act doesn't matter.
Don't worry about it.
It doesn't matter at all. It was like, okay.
Oh. Now it's just sitting in my brain existing. Cool.
That's fine. I didn't just waste
What a
2 hours
complete
of my
movie
life.
experience for me. Thank you.
These people were the most unlikable character. I didn't find a single character that I was like, oh, I really hope you survive. I think if there was one, it was the fiance who got killed immediately.
Way earlier.
Like, immediately.
Had you given her more time, probably would have been the same.
No, her ending was dumb, so I was like, y'all would have fucked her up too. She would have gotten ruined somewhere along the way. Oh, you know what? I'm happy that the gas station attendant survived.
Hey, we've spent far too long.
Oh no,
way
too long.
More than this movie deserves.
Way more.
Anyways, this is Rogan Drift.
The podcast where I give a character and you drive.
But no, tell them who you are.
I feel like today, since I'm reliving this stupid movie, I'm your ravaged rogue.
I am your delirious druid shadow.
This is actually Rogan Druid Podcast.
Yeah. Welcome to the party.
Yeah.
I know you've been here, but welcome. But yeah, that That whole thing, nothing to do with this podcast.
No, absolutely nothing.
Other than, hey, if you like bad movies, let us know.
Let us know some other recommendations. We're making a list.
I like the funny ones.
Yeah, me too. Like I said,
fun with friends.
2 solid scenes in that movie. I laughed way too hard, honestly. I think it was because I lost some brain cells watching the movie, but
it happened.
But yes, all honestly, I make a lot of characters for role-playing games, and I hand out those characters during these podcasts. I promise they have more of a plot than Texas Chainsaw does. Then you end up drawing them.
Yes. Wow. You said it so much more smoothly than I feel like I did. But that is what we do here. Yeah. And you have our last one for this month.
I do.
Because we just realized we have 5 Tuesdays here in May.
We sure do.
And we usually only do like 3 characters a month. So if you are motivated to tune in next week, we're going to be taking a little break from our regular thing. And we're doing a wild magic surge. So tune in and find out what that's all about. But hit me with them, Mario.
Okay. So we are going to come back down to earth from whatever we just experienced.
I don't know where we went, truly.
Yeah. This was wild. That wasn't even the sky. That was a different dimension.
That was the astral plane or something.
It was weird shit, man.
Did we just take psychic damage? Is that what it feels like?
I did watching that movie for sure. I'm still recovering.
Levels of exhaustion. It was bad. You got hit with weird.
Yeah. Just suffering. So, the character I am giving you today is called Echo.
As in the night? A little D&D joke there for you. I'm so sorry. I think you've brought me down.
No. I transferred some of my psychic damage. We're sharing now.
We're sharing brain cells, so like we had to like equilibrium it.
At this point,
did the intro have anything to do with it? Because you were like, "Oh, I really want to tell you about this movie, but it's got to be on this person."
Actually, kind of on a level. We'll get there in a minute.
Chainsaws, dual wielding chainsaws.
But no, so she's actually an Air Genasi.
Ooh. Mm-hmm. That's fun. That's new and fun. I love that.
And it's actually a Pact of the Undying Warlock.
Oh. Unexpected. It's like, this sounds like a cool monk. Nope, not at all.
Nope. I mean, on the level of like Pact of the Undying.
I see.
Yeah, a little bit. This is also because Texas Chainsaw was supposed to be a dark and terrifying movie, and it wasn't. This character is also deceiving in a different way.
Okay.
So, I'm going to jump into the crunchy details so we can get to this backstory and also physical appearance, because it's fun and I enjoy it. So, obviously, as a warlock, I definitely wanted charisma to be very high. Mm-hmm. So, charisma is the top stat. After charisma is actually intelligence, and then dexterity. Mm-hmm. Con and strength, it doesn't matter which one you pick. Middling. Whiz is lower.
Dump it.
Yeah. And you'll find out
Get
why
it
soon.
down there.
I also really love a high-int, low-whiz character.
Oh, yeah. That Sherlock Holmes, Dr. House, Sheldon Cooper type.
For sure. Because she's a warlock and they do tend to be kind of squishy. Mm-hmm. I did give her a crossbow, but I also gave her daggers and a mace, because warlocks get a surprising amount of weapons to start, which I totally forgot about because, you know, one of the only warlocks I play really just uses the bow. Yeah. So, and then she wears leathers for, you know, the sake of being quick. I also, as a background, gave her a sage background. I like sage if you don't have like a specific background that works really well for the thing that's going on with your character. So, because sage is just like a nice base, safe background. It doesn't really require too much integration into your actual backstory, whereas things like clan crafter or guild artisan or, you know, entertainer or something like that. They kind of have to be a decent bit of your backstory to make sense. Unless you're like, oh, I don't care about background. I just want these specific mechanics for my character. But yeah, that's all the crunchy. That part is very quick. So I'm going to jump into this description.
Yes, please.
Because this background is going to get heavy.
Oh no. What are you doing to me this month?
And apparently I'm just causing everybody pain this month. So she has dark blue eyes.
Okay.
This is another character who, I guess this was my accidental theme, my 2 accidental themes for this month. Older characters and also, pain.
Pain's pretty consistent when we come here, though.
And she has blue skin.
Yeah.
And she has these, like, markings that are cloud-like, but also a little bit vitiligo-like.
Okay.
And then she also has a curly gray afro. And this was purely flavor text for you guys. I liked the idea of, because you can play with things like this when it comes to Genasi, the afro having sort of cloud effect depending on her current emotion. So, like, if she's really upset, it'll get darker gray. Oh, like, when she's angry, you'll see, like, flashes that look like lightning running through the afro. Stuff like that. Yeah. It'll get lighter the happier she is. Stuff like that. Or, like, you could maybe even see if she's, like, super elated, something that looks almost like sun, like hidden behind the cloud.
Yeah.
So that's pure flavor text, but like that's one of those things that I like to play with when you're making a character like a Genasi, where you can get into into stuff like that. And then height wise, she's a little taller than average, about 5'5". And body wise, she is a little bit thicker, like kind of like mom hips.
I'm sold. You keep giving me like hot women, but so much pain.
Yeah, so like a little bit more curvy.
I am so clenched for this next part.
You know, a little bit more curvy and a little, you know, not like thin, just a curvier woman. And that's because she was a mother.
Oh no, past tense? Pain.
That was the most guilt I have ever had starting.
Good. You should feel that. What did you do? Okay. Are you a DM?
I will so the idea for this character actually came on my honeymoon. Which is
promising for a marriage.
Talking about D&D. Because we're both fucking nerds.
Yeah. As one does.
Of course. And basically what happened was I had the vague idea for a character who was a warlock doing bad things, but not really realizing how bad the things they were doing were, or how bad the path they were going down was. Because a lot of times you'll get warlocks that it's like, oh no, like I'm decidedly doing good things, or I'm decidedly embracing this sort of like dark demon daddy, like type of, you know what I mean?
Yep.
Like, a lot of people like fully go into like the, evil or whatever, like type of aesthetic for a warlock. I wanted to take a look at a character who, for some reason, was doing increasingly darker things for their patron, but either for some reason wasn't realizing what they were agreeing to, or was constantly flexing and pushing past their moral quandaries for the sake of fulfilling their patron desires. And why somebody would be willing to do that, or why somebody would be ignorant to that. So that's the idea that I had while we were on the honeymoon, and then it turned into Echo, who was once a happy woman married to the love of her life with a son who was surprisingly also born in Air Genasi like her. And that's surprising because they're rare, so it would have been more expected that her significant other, who, interesting enough, this is one of the only characters who I had not sussed out because it felt right no matter which way you slice it.
Mm-hmm.
I had not sussed out her sexuality, and I had not sussed out who her significant other is. I did expect that she was the one who gave birth to the son,
mm-hmm.
but whether that's a lesbian couple and they had a donor, or her partner is non-binary, or a man, like I hadn't figured any of that out. It didn't seem as important as this particular other part of the relationship.
Mm-hmm. I mean, that's very of the vibe of like an Air Genasi dude. Like, I didn't figure it out. It could be whatever.
Yeah. So it literally, there's nothing written into the backstory, just whatever you're into,
mm-hmm.
whatever you would like her to be, put them in there,
mm-hmm.
basically. For a while, this family was happy, and then one day there was a horrible accident that took her son from her.
Uh-huh.
I also very specifically did not state what the accident was,
mm-hmm.
because it would be something that she doesn't talk about.
Right.
So either just in the moment, decide right there what the accident is, or...
let your DM do it.
Yeah, let your DM decide what the accident is.
That way you don't even know.
Exactly. But whatever it is, it would be something that she just doesn't like, because she doesn't like to think about that. She does not talk about it at all. After months of searching for a way, because she's so devastated, this is a lot about a story of grief and overcoming your grief.
Mm-hmm.
Because basically she's so stuck in her devastation and her pain, she starts searching for a way to bring her son back,
mm-hmm.
instead of working through her pain. So it ends up actually becoming something that drives a wedge between her and her partner, because they are trying to work through and move past the grief, and find a way forward.
Yeah.
And she is determined to bring their son back.
Mm-hmm.
She's like, there's not a through. We're going to fix this. This isn't what was supposed to happen.
Mm-hmm.
This is a mistake, and it needs to be rectified.
Yeah.
There's no getting through this. And so it ends up essentially like driving a wedge between them. They're this fight to keep each other, but the paths they're taking are so different to deal with this, that it's making it very hard and near impossible for them to stay together and also work through this situation as a team.
Mm-hmm.
And that's about the point where, because this goes on for like months, at that point she's ready to give up, and then a mysterious wizard who lives at the edge of her town reaches out to her.
Oh, they can't see, but I'm doing sus eyes.
When they meet, he tells her that he discovered the secret to cheating death.
I hate this.
And he could help her bring her son back, but she has to be prepared that, one, he would come back different. And two, she would have to be willing to do whatever it takes. And obviously in her grief, and also her relief that somebody is actually like, hey, there's a way we can do this. She agrees, only caring about the fact that she really is not listening to everything. She's listening to the, like, I can bring your son back.
That she wants,
and then everything else is just like blah, 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 blah. Like, that doesn't matter. I heard the thing I wanted, and that's all that I care about now. So she agrees and essentially ends up making a pact with him, in which obviously he grants her warlock powers and stuff like that. And then he sends her out to start gathering things that are needed to bring her son back. And so she leaves that same night. She leaves a note for her significant other that basically is just like, I finally found a way to do it, and I'm coming back with her son, essentially. And that's
horrifying.
She literally is like, I'm not coming back until I've succeeded in this task, and now I actually have a way forward. And that's how she ends up going out. So the idea, because like I said, I was talking to Hubby DM about this, and as I presented him with the more full backstory for this character, the idea he presented was, what if the wizard is actually a lich?
Mm-hmm.
And the thing that he's doing is essentially also going to turn her son into a lich, because now he knows how to do that. And so that's what he means when he says bringing him back, but different. And also that's why he's like, hey, you're going to have to be prepared to do some stuff. to make this happen. And that's why the tasks that she ends up getting become increasingly more questionable and sketchy and stuff like that. And so a lot of her...
It's just the dark ritual.
Yeah, right? So a lot of her journey is just going to end up becoming like, how far is she willing to go? And is there a point where she's like, I don't know if the person I'm becoming is even a person my son would come back to or should come back to. Like, at what point is this not worth what I'm becoming?
Mm-hmm.
What happens if she finds out her patron is a lich? And that's what he means when he says, I can help you. Is that something that her grief is so overwhelming that she's willing to do? Like, all of these kind of things. So it's a lot of different questions about, like, how far is too far?
Right.
You know, what are you willing to do for somebody that you love? Is there a thing that's too much to be willing to do for somebody that you love? What is the price of essentially at that point your soul? Like, because what you're doing is fucked up, right? And like, how much are you giving up just outside of not just you yourself sacrificing? What are you sacrificing from other people that you deemed was worth it for this thing that you don't even know this other person even would want from you? Her story is truly just basically a long story about like dealing with grief. She's not left that denial phase yet. And people around her are moving on and passing that and continuing forward through the grief. And she doesn't want to walk through that door because she doesn't want it to feel like the second you start walking through that door, you're agreeing to there not being a different way.
Yeah.
And realistically, it's probably the best thing to do. But obviously,
we understand why you would feel that way in grief. All right, you promised me pain. You fucking gave me pain. Ow. What kind of honeymoon is
so the actual full story backstory of the character was not come up with on the honeymoon. We were just talking about characters in D&D and stuff, and I told him I had an idea for a warlock who was unwittingly doing worse and worse shit. And then I was like, well, I don't know how or why, but I vaguely had that idea, and I also knew immediately visually that I wanted it to be an Air Genasi, because I had the visual for the like blue skin and the clouds and the hair, and I was like, but I don't know anything else about this character. Those are the two things I have for you. And then I don't even remember when the actual rest of the backstory. It was just, I think it was because it was like either this character had to be incredibly stupid to not see the fucked up things that they're doing, or incredibly desperate.
Which, yup. It's, oh my gosh, it's so heavy. This is the worst possible thing I can imagine. Like, shit's fucked in real life, but like, I think losing a kid is the worst thing. So, that's heavy. I am wondering, how does this play into playing her with a party?
So, realistically, for her specifically, it's like she has to go out to do these things. The things required to create a lich are not things that can be achieved alone on a level. Like, once you start getting into certain things, it's like, I'm not fighting this thing alone. That's not going to be able to happen, right? So, for her, it would be kind of utility.
Oh, okay.
Like some of the, like needing somebody else. So, like, at that point, it would just be like a business arrangement at the very least to start, where it's like, okay, well, like, you guys need to do something. I need help doing these things
I gotta
that
get
I
to
need
this
to
place.
do. So let's help each other. We'll go tackle this thing that you want to do for money, because, like, also I need money to get where I'm going anyway.
Right.
And then you guys agree to help me do this thing because I'm helping you. And throughout the campaign, those dynamics, if you're playing like a nice, decent group of people, are set to shift at some point.
Oh, it all depends on what kind of campaign you're playing.
Like. Because it could always just stay a business arrangement. Everybody's just like, okay, well, nobody's delving into your business, whatever, we'll do these things. But, like, as things go on, especially depending on what kind of campaign you're in, like, do people start asking questions about the things that you're gathering?
Exactly.
And the things being requested from you. Once you start having that conversation about what happened and why you need to gather these things, like, other people with other perspectives, do they start echoing the things that you've heard?
Pun intended?
Actually, no. But you're welcome. Do they start, like, saying the same things that you've been hearing from your partner about, like, actually working through the grief and stuff? Do they start making you question how far you're going and how much you're losing that you still have?
Or is it more like, now I'm hearing the same shit again?
Yeah, exactly. If you start to get close to your party and somebody gets hurt doing something for you in an incredibly dangerous thing to get this incredibly dangerous thing for this incredibly fucked up thing
that you don't know about.
Yeah, like, do you start to question why you're being asked to do these things? Like, does the wool that's been pulled over your eyes start to shed as you start wondering?
You're with these metaphors today.
Well, like, think about it, because obviously the Lich would have had to hide this, like, slow decaying of themselves and, like, the smell and stuff to make her be like, oh yeah, like, you look fine and you're cheating death, so I'm sure this is okay. Do you accidentally catch what he actually looks like? Do you start realizing what he's talking about when he's like, this is what your son will come back as? Is that worth it to you? What if somebody in your party's a cleric and they're like, I can help you get closure, but I can't bring you back.
We cannot stand for this.
Yeah, like, you know, there are clerics, grave cleric does speak with the dead. Can you have a conversation? Can you, like, all these different things? Like, there are other ways to help start facilitating that closure. Or even, like, I'm a cleric, I could eventually help you bring him back. Not right this minute. But, like, as we go through this and as I get stronger, that's something I will have the ability to do. Can you wait? Does this not seem like, and it won't, he won't be changed. It will be your son. Yeah. But also what you're doing, you're forcing him to come back. You're not giving and facilitating the option. So, like, I'm opening
these are
a
conversations
door.
that need to be had.
Yeah, like, I'm facilitating and opening
something
a
you
door.
really want.
And so I do think, like, the consistent conversations between, like, her and a cleric throughout a process might change some things. Yeah. Does she end up deciding she doesn't want to be a warlock anymore? And, like, does something change about her path or her pact? Does she end up having to fight her patron? Like,
well, that'd be fun.
All of this different stuff. And because she doesn't truly understand, like, at some point does somebody start figuring it out and sussing it out? And, like, they're like, do you realize what you're agreeing to and who you're working for and what they're trying to do? It really is just, like, how you as a player have to decide. And honestly, for some of these things, depending on where your character is at, maybe just fucking roll for it. Like, is she still too far gone? Is she, period, just too far gone for anything to change her mind? Or are people getting through to her? Like, is she starting to understand? Is she starting to question what's happening? You know? And the answer is, I don't know. I don't know how this ends.
You tell us. It all depends on the campaign. It all depends on who's in the party. It all depends on the world. You could have this
mostly good person driven to this point by her grief and just kind of slowly ends up pretty evil because she's just willing to do whatever it takes to get her end goal. Oh. If she's with an evil party, as long as their needs are met too, they don't care. Yeah.
That would be very interesting if, like, you're going through this whole thing and she's, like, over the edge and now this PC is the BBEG. Like, what a fun twist. But what a sad, awful thing to have happened. Oh, man. But yeah, this definitely needs to go into the hands of, like, a careful player and a careful table DM. I think it would be really interesting seeing this in a low magic setting.
Oh, yeah.
Because then it's like, what could possibly make this happen? Because that's not a thing.
Because that would be a big part of the problem for her. If nothing else, where she is, would have to be a little bit lower magic. Or like the town that she's from or something probably doesn't have a lot of clerics and stuff like that. So there's not really that option. Or like people around her are like, I don't know if you should be doing what you're doing.
Right.
Like, obviously your grief is speaking, but like you need to consider the ramifications and implications of you doing what you're trying to do. So yeah, like this is it. It would probably work best in like a lower magic setting, even if just, like I said, the place she comes from is lower magic. So that there's not just like, okay, well, why didn't a cleric just like save him? Or even realistically, all honesty, even in not a low magic setting, like you have to be pretty high level cleric. To bring somebody back to life. So
on the flip side, it would also be interesting if she just like adventuring rolls into this town where it's just a lot of high level clerics and it's like, yeah, for sure we do that all the time.
Yeah, right? Like, oh,
easy.
Okay, yeah.
Wait, what has someone been telling you? Like
tick tick tick. Okay. We need to talk about what you almost did. And then at that point it's like, well, she doesn't need the lich anymore, so what happens from there?
I do love the built-in just big bad guy at the end. Oh man. And really, if your table is prepared, what a horrifying scene it would be to have the kid come back and then we gotta deal with it.
Yeah. Her finally fully not realizing until she's gone through with it what the implication there is.
Oh my god. It's so much to work through, and like, if you're up for it, go for it, you brave soul.
I would. So for me personally, I think I'd be like, I would prefer literally anything. They're getting to the point of bringing the kid back like that. Because woof. That's worse than just regular grieving now.
But oh man, it's so this is worse than Lovar.
Oh no, yeah. Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
For sure. It's bad. Oh. But yeah, I'm just trying to think of like logistically, like, yeah, this could definitely be pulled off in a fully evil campaign. This could be pulled off. But you gotta be careful, gang.
Ooh, yeah.
Like we always preach, keep communicating with your fellow players and your DM. This is one of those subjects that could triggering. This is triggering.
Yes.
But I think it would be such an adventure to explore these topics and kind of work through grief in this way. Yeah, well,
Oh, no, I was just going to agree with you. I was also going to say this is another character who I would probably say be an intermediate level player. At least have a couple of campaign, or a campaign at least, and then maybe some one-shots or smaller things underneath your belt, because I have been pleasantly surprised with what new players are able to like delve into respectfully and stuff like that. But you need to broach this one there with respect. Yeah. And this is definitely one where you want to be very careful and have that conversation very early, session 0. You know, like this backstory will include the death of a child. Like, how, is that something anybody's not going to be comfortable dealing with? Even like a backstory that kind of entails a lich, maybe that's a conversation to also make sure you have, just because that might be disturbing and uncomfortable for somebody. But I mean, honestly, the grief is universal. Yeah. So the actual process of her working through it, whether by her own accord finally coming to that place where she's ready to work through it and starts questioning how far she's gone before she got to this point, or somebody else facilitating and finally kickstarting that is something I think everybody's going to be capable of working through.
Mm-hmm.
You just have to be careful how you handle the rest of the experience.
Yeah.
So like the actual talk about the death. Some of the things that you have to go through to become a lich, maybe be careful with those things. Like, those are the things that I'm more worried about than any player not being able to handle the conversation and the process of facilitating this character's, hopefully, working through her grief in a healthier way.
I think she still has, like, high playability because it's like, you keep rooting for this woman because she's just being driven by her grief.
Mm-hmm. And I think it's one of those things where it's like...
Well, you get it because you don't know what kind of space someone is in after they've lost someone so close to them. So it's like... it's like...
I want the best for you.
I
don't think you're heading in the direction that's going to get you that. So I really want... like, I really want you to get through this. But not like this.
Oh, man. Pain, Oreo pain.
Yeah, I didn't mean to do it. I really didn't.
You did it?
I truly didn't think there was a theme well, this one was on purpose. But everybody else, I didn't think there was a theme this month, and yet here we are.
Gratefully, this one does not hit as close to home for me, but
for real.
Oh man, it hurts.
Woof.
But it's certainly for high experience characters, but or players, but there's definitely so many doors to like explore grief and explore emotions, and because it seems like her aesthetic is so showing of her emotions. I don't know where I was going with that, but that's a fun thing to explore. And truly, this episode, you just like took the how do we hurt her bus and freaking drove it around town.
Yeah, because like inherently your story is already just like her being her. And then it's just like, okay, well, make her succeed and realize it's not what she wanted really, or don't let her, like, force her to realize the thing she's trying to do she can't succeed in, because it's not right. Yeah.
It's a little bit of like Louisa from earlier this month, but like on 10 of like, she wants to go back to something that can't be gotten back.
Yeah. Well, so that's interesting because technically it can. It's just like the way you're currently going about it is not the way it should be gotten back. Right? So it's the same in the sense of like she's desperately trying to get something because her life isn't going the way she planned it to. But like, unlike Louisa, who's like, I will just take us back and it'll be fine. I will work until I can take us back and then it'll be fine. She's like, I am doing absolutely questionable things to force this outcome that I am demanding somebody give me. And the outcome I'm not seeing clearly because of my grief, which is also why I gave her a very low is what I'm actually driving towards is horrific. Yeah. You know, like, it's not like it's not there. It's there. I could do this. I shouldn't.
This is not the path I should be on, though.
Exactly.
Whoa. But also, there's a part of me of like, but how do we put this in a goofy campaign? Because I really feel like all of your characters could just go anywhere. So I think it would just be like, she just runs into a bunch of clerics that are just like,
oh no, that would be hilarious. She was like, I was about to do this real fucked up dark thing, and then it's like people just constantly are like, you know how bad that is? And she's like, what? No, he's great. And everybody's like, yo, bitch, that's a lich. And she's like, what? No.
He smells fine.
He looks regular.
It's just a wizard.
No, he's just old. and then
that low is again.
School takes her to a town of clerics. It's like, yo, the school I went to for my cleric shit, there's solidly a guy who can just bring your child back without all the totally normal weird stuff that you're doing. So, like, we could just go pick up your child and go deal with this now. And she's like, oh shit, really? and then goes back to her fucking lich guy and she's like, hey, no, I appreciate, like, good looking out, but, like, I found a cleric who can do this real easy without all the, like, dangerous tasks.
I'm sorry, what did you tell them about me? And then, like, your lich could still be your bad guy.
No, and now he's pissed because he lost his freaking acolyte. And also now she's sicked clerics on it on accident.
Damn. But yeah, it's a rough one, but
yeah, no.
What's the lesson here? Grief is hard.
Grief is hard, but it should be it's meant to be worked through.
Yeah.
It's not meant to be avoided.
Mm-hmm. I love that. You're absolutely right. Do we have any final notes?
I don't know.
What a roller coaster of an episode.
I'm only half here still because of the beginning of this episode. Oh, God.
The beginning of this episode, and then you came out with the aesthetic. You keep like pulling hard lefts on me with these.
Like I said, much like the movie, this was deceptive.
Yeah, I'm getting it. And then the backstory hit.
Listen. So the other idea I had, which is way sillier if you guys like the aesthetic, but you super don't want to play that heavy, was actually just like, she's just not smart enough to see. So like just drop intelligence down a bit, and actually she just doesn't realize that she's like helping somebody do something really, like, she's like, no, he said that's like what all wizards do. Yeah. It's like, I feel like take away the dead son.
That's the goofy version here.
Yeah, like take away the dead son, take away the like falling apart relationship. And it's just kind of a dumb woman who's like really trusting of this sketchy ass lich wizard. Yeah. And it's like, no, he just needs these things.
It's just a bunch of like point A to point B jobs.
This sounds like a doomsday bomb you're making. And she's like, he would never. Oh my God, that's a little racist.
Like all wizards are just out here making terrorist weapons?
He's so nice every time. He even like makes himself smell good for me. And it's like, girl,
run that back.
She's like, he's just kind of falling apart. Like, he still has skin, but he's kind of falling apart. And they're like, hey, yo, what's your patron look like? And she's just like, yeah, well, half of his face is
his
bone.
His jaw is unhinged a little bit.
Yeah, half of his face is bone, but the other half still has skin on it, and it's looking really good. He said it's like a skin
It's a magic thing.
Yeah, like, he said, it'll be fine. He said, don't worry about it. And they're like, bitch. Wait a minute. He lives in that super secure tower, and he, you know, people act like it's kind of sketchy. Somebody said, like, a lich lives there, but I know who lives there, so, like...
Ridiculous.
We're like, can we meet him? Can we go?
It's just Martin.
But yeah. No, like, I had that, but I was like, I really want to explore, like, a character who's, like, slowly coming to the realization.
Or slowly... spiraling into oblivion.
My hope for her was slowly coming to the realization that she has gone way too far, and then like the fight back, essentially. Because I did think it would be very funny to like have to have a lich fight. Real fun to have a lich fight.
Oh, for sure.
And I liked putting that option right there in my DM's hand, but and then but when I originally thought of the character, I also just did think it would be very funny if, on the flip side, if we're going completely silly campaign, I just wipe all that sad shit and I'm just like, no, this bitch is just dumb. Just real oblivious. She's like, he gave me cool powers. Yeah. He's awesome.
But that's the another thing I love about D&D, because it's like, you have this thing all set and prepped and whatever, and it's like, you don't know until the moment you're in the scene of like, okay, this is a judgment call that has to be made. I wonder let me look inside this character and see how she responds.
Yep.
So I just feel like a lot of those moments would really dictate whether or not she spirals into oblivion or whether she like bootstraps and saves herself.
Yeah.
You know? But you don't know until you're at the table.
Yeah, that's true. There have been times where I literally was just like, I truly don't, like, there have been times where I just went, fuck it, I'm gonna roll. Because, like, I've been like, I don't know where we're at this point. Right. Either mentally or physically or, like, because I truly, truly never considered how far a character would possibly go for a thing. I've literally had to be like, okay, the dice is going to tell me right now, and we're committing. Whatever the dice say, we're committing to that being the response that I have.
And that's fun too. Leave it to the dice gods. Truly, that's all it comes down to anyway. Yeah, but I think for a lot, especially for characters like Amma and River, it's always just like gut instinct. I'm like, I never expected to be in this situation. I'm pretty sure I'd do this. This feels right. Yay. Which has sometimes been incredibly wrong, but also very hilarious. But in character.
But you know, we're here. Yeah.
You did have a theme. You just didn't know it.
I literally said jokingly to you last week's episode, I'm going to be like, oops, all theme, I guess. And oops, all theme, I guess. Pain.
Relatable, real world, these things happen, pain. Thanks.
I'm gonna pull it back in June. I swear, we're
what you said
better. I don't know what happened. Listen,
the trust meter between Rogue and Druid right now, flailing,
real wobbly. I don't know how I did this because when I pick characters, I don't pick them as a group. I pick them individually, and so individually, it just went right over my head.
Yeah. You're probably just like, what feels like May? This, and this.
I literally was like, I want to pick some characters who have a bit of a more simple or simplistic look. So I got rid of a lot of characters who were a little bit crazier. I had been meaning to give you Echo at some point soonish, because she is the only full Warlock. I think actually Warlock was our last class that I hadn't done yet, because I've talked about Zan, but I've never actually given you a Warlock. So I was trying to give you some classes I hadn't given you before, so I gave you a Barbarian and a Warlock.
Right. Okay, now I think we're done. I think we're caught up for sure.
I was like, oh, Louisa is very simple looking physically, so I'll start with her to ease out of the whole Persephone thing, and then I'll give a Barbarian because I haven't given one yet, and then I'll give a Warlock because I also haven't given one of those yet. And I did not think about those backstories in succession of each other.
But also, this could just be telling of like Oreo's process game. Where she puts in relatable, painful things into her characters.
Woof.
And who knows what that says about her?
We're not examining that. It's been too long. It's been already too much. Let's go. I gotta get out of here.
We promise next week will be light and fun. I swear to you.
Much better. Listen, I started this episode light and hilarious. Thank you very much.
Today was a roller coaster, though, for real.
Today was a dumpster fire. Anyway.
But thanks for sticking with us. That's it for our May characters. Tune in next week for our Wild Magic Surge, where we did a lot of research and made a lot of decisions, and we would really love to share it with you guys. I think it's gonna be hilarious and have a good time.
I will not hurt anybody.
I still love you, even though you've heard me all month.
I'm so sorry.
It's okay, I forgive you. You know what? Sometimes D&D is pain.
This time it was all pain.
Oops, all pain.
Thank you for tuning into May. Oops, all pain.
We're prepping you for Pride Month, I guess.
Ooh. I will make everything better in June, I promise.
Only rainbows in June. Pun intended. Damn it. But yeah, for real though, we got the lesson. We're good.
We gotta get out of here.
That's Echo. Let us know if you use her. Please leave us a comment. Please
let me know if y'all are okay.
Please let us know if you've seen this reboot film that Oreo was talking about.
Tell me what you think about it.
Did you also laugh? Were you also expecting her to wake up from a dream?
It just really seemed like it. I can't dwell on this anymore. I gotta let this out of my head.
Please, while Oreo is deteriorating over there, please check out our Instagram at Rogan Druid. We have so much content. We have the art that I make for these characters. We got speed draws and final products. Oreo's got Sim Sundays, where she makes the Simified versions. She's also sometimes dropping the Hero Forge versions.
I also have aesthetics.
She's got aesthetics. She's got a nice grid where you get the vibe. I also pick up the vibe there. Work it into the drawing. Is that what we do there?
Yeah.
Please.
Tuesday is just a teaser, close up of the drawing before you guys get the actual thing. So yeah, that's the thing.
Yeah. Under the same handle, we got a TikTok at Rogan Druid. We have promised earlier this month there is content, so there must be content there. At this rate,
I say it confidently. There is content on the TikTok.
Love it. And lastly, we are on YouTube for the full react. On Instagram, you just get the quiet 60-second speed draw. But if you want the whole thing, Oreo's live reactions of pure stunned silence.
Yep. My absolute
quality auditory content we're bringing you. Check us out over there. Give us a like, a subscribe, comment on all of our platforms. We love the interaction. And tell your friends.
Yeah.
We're word of mouth. Tell your friends. You should buy an ad
We're
or
not
something.
usually this upsetting.
And yeah, stick around to see our full range, because this is definitely on one end of it.
Yeah. Anyway, I am currently your very sorry.
She's so sorry she couldn't even think of an alliteration.
No, I'm just real sorry.
I am your devastated Druid Shell.
As always, swerving from the love. Fuck Electrum.
Fuck Paladins.
Fuck Andy Warhol.
Goodbye, party.
I'm sorry, party.
No, see you next time. I'm keeping it optimistic. Till next time, party.